Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and a very good day to honorable panels. I am very happy to have this opportunity to present my presentation. Before I start, I will introduce myself. My name is Muhammad Kharash Firdaus bin Abdul Aziz and I am from NSR2415M2. So today I will share with you my research title, which is the effect of passion toward intrinsic motivation of Sultan Idris Education University UPSI athletes. Next, move to the background of the study. Alright, so my background of the study is basically from a review of existing literature from the previous study in the area of my research. There are two variables that I measure, which is an independent variable and dependent variable. My independent variable is passion. Passion is described as a psychological factor that shows a strong inclination toward an activity that they like. They find it very important and they invest their time and energy towards the thing that they're passionate about it. In passion, there are two subscales which are harmonious passion and obsessive passions. From the previous research, they found that passion has a negative effect instead of positive effect only, which means passion also can lead to negative effect towards a person. Next is dependent variable, which is intrinsic motivation. According to Matsui 2014, intrinsic motivation is described as the undertaking of activity as a hobby without external incentive and also personal satisfaction derived through self-initiated achievement. Intrinsic motivation also is very important for the athlete to enhance their performance in any competition in a long term. Next, we will take a look at the statement of the problem. For the problem in this study, according to Holmberg and Sheridan 2013, passion towards the sport can lead to physical and emotional exhaustion, reduced personal accomplishment, and sport devaluation of the athlete. This happens when obsessive passion towards the sport can affect the external environment, such as pressure and expectation from others. When the athlete did not achieve the target, they will start to have the problem. Next, according to Miller and Hoffman 2009, mental health of athlete is at risk, which can lead to depression and suicide. This will happen when the athlete fails to achieve their passion. They have declining motivation without any support. This will become a mental health problem towards them and they will start to think about depression and suicidal. Next is the research objective. In general, research objectives describe what we achieve for the study. The research objective can be linked with the hypothesis. My research objective, have three. The first one is to identify the passion of UPSI athletes. The second one is to identify the intrinsic motivation of UPSI athlete. And the last one is to examine the effect of passion on the intrinsic motivation of UPSI athlete. We will continue to the significance of the study. Significance of the study is the benefit that can be gained by certain people from this research. They can use this research as a guideline in the related field. For example, coaches. They can use this research as a guideline to monitor their athletes' condition externally and internally. The importance of motivation can lead the athletes to improve more in their skills and performance in sport. Coaches can learn from this research about passion and can relate with their intrinsic motivation and came out with a new way to train their athletes to become a good athlete. Other than that, the athletes also can benefit from this study as they need to learn and know about their self-motivation. We will continue with chapter 2, which is a literature review. For my literature review, this is the theory from the previous study used as the guideline for the research. They identified two subscales for passion, which are harmonious and obsessive passion. These two subscales are showing the effect of negative and positive. For harmonious passion, it is one sense that is not forced into the activity, but the enjoyment of doing the activity. The figure shows the harmonious passion give a positive effect, because harmonious passion is guided by a process of autonomous internalization and allows people to work freely under their control. In addition, harmonious passion helps individuals acquire self-esteem in in their activities, and be flexible, open, passionately, and mindfully engaged in activities. Next is obsessive passion. From the figure, obsessive passion seems to give a negative effect because obsessive passion shows an urge from a person toward their sport activity, and their expectation and focus toward the sport is at a high level. Next is the conceptual framework. The IV, independent variable, is a passion that has two sub-skills, which is harmonious passion and obsessive passion. Meanwhile, the DV, dependent variable, for this framework is intrinsic motivation. Alright, let us continue to chapter 3, which is methodology. In general, the research design is the framework of research methods and techniques chosen by the researcher. This study aims to examine the effect of passion on intrinsic motivation. The research design for this study is non-experimental research by using a quantitative design. This design is chosen because it involves the collection and analysis of data by using a random survey. The questionnaire will be divided into three parts, which is part A, part B, and part C. The questionnaire will be used in the Google form and it will be distributed through an online platform. Alright, let's continue for sampling. The sample for the study will be athlete students of UPSI because they can be educators and coaches in the future, and the motivation needed for the long term as they can give benefits to new generation in the future. The inclusion criteria will be the athlete students that still study in UPSI and they have represent UPSI for once. For the exclusion criteria, who are ex-students or non-athlete students of UPSI and never represent UPSI in any sport competition. For the sample size, based on the total population that gets directly from the sport center of UPSI through call, approximately the total of athlete students since last updated in 2019 is 254. So referring to Kharash and Morgan 1970, the sample size will be 152, and an additional, which is 30 people, 20% of the sample size of Kharash and Morgan 1970 will be added to the sample size, and the total sample size will be 182 respondents. So for the sampling technique used in a simple random sampling. The technique is the probability sampling technique and the basic sampling technique, where we select a group for study from the population. Each individual is chosen entirely by chance, and each member of the population has an equal chance of being included in the sample. This sampling also is easy to distribute the questionnaire and also to ensure the randomness of the sample. So we will continue on the instrumentation. For instrumentation, the questionnaire consists of three parts, which is part A, part B, and part C. For part A, the demographic part, there will be 6 items. The questionnaire was developed by the researcher. Part B will be the passion skills. There are 14 items and the skill used will be the 5 points Likert scale. The developer of this passion skill is the veteran 2013. For part C, which is the sport motivation scale, there are 28 items and the scale will be using 7-point Likert scale. The developer for this questionnaire is Mallet, Kawabata, Newcombe, Otero, Forero, and Jackson 2007. Alright, for part A, the example of question will be the age, gender, race, education, sports, and also the highest achievement in sport. For part B, 14 items were divided into 2 sub-skills, which is 7 items for harmonious passion and 7 items for obsessive passions. For harmonious, the Cronbach alpha is 0.72, and for obsessive passions, the Cronbach alpha will be 0.85. The last one is part C, which is the sport motivation skills. There are 28 items and they were divided into 7 sub-skills, which is air motivation, the Cronbach alpha is 0.75, external regulation, the Cronbach alpha is 0.77, introjected regulation, the Cronbach alpha is 0.74, identified regulation, the Cronbach alpha is 0.64, intrinsic motivation to know, the Chromba Alpha is 0.8. Intrinsic motivation accomplishment, the Chromba Alpha is 0.8. And lastly is intrinsic motivation stimulation, which is the Chromba Alpha is 0.74. Alright, so we will continue on the data collection procedure. There are 5 procedures that we'll need to follow. The first one is getting the approval from the ethics committee. For the second one is to get the approval from the head of the organization. For the third procedure is to brief the respondent about the purpose of the study. The fourth procedure is to distribute the questionnaire to all respondents. And the last procedure is to collect the questionnaire after they have finished answering. The last one is the data analysis. Data analysis is the process of systematically applying the statistical and logical technique to describe and illustrate, condense and recap and evaluate the data. For the first research objective, the researcher used descriptive statistics. For the second research objective, the researcher used the descriptive statistics. And the last research objective, the researcher used inferential statistics. That's all from me. Thank you for your attention for my presentation. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.